All right, go ahead. Amanda, do you want to do intros or Nkosi, do you
Yeah.
want to start? No
Yes, we
problem.
can intro. So nice to see everybody. My name is Amanda Kissel. I am the job coach for the Young Money Managers. And the Young Money Managers have been learning a lot about financial related topics, and they are excited to share their knowledge on credit building today. A fun fact about myself is that I've been with STL Youth Jobs since 2017. So some of your names look familiar. So it's great to see you guys again. Also, let's see what else would be fun to share. I have 3 sisters and a daughter. So that's my fun fact. I will then pass it on to Dania. If Dania wants to introduce herself, she is also a Young Money Manager. And then Alexis, if you want to go after Dania, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Alrighty then. Hi, I'm Dania. I'm a Young Money Manager. This will be my second year with STL Youth Jobs. Some fun about me is that if you guys don't know, I love to skate. And I'm just happy to be here with you all and help each other gain a lot of knowledge.
Hello, my name is Alexis. I am a Young Money Manager, also alumni SCL Youth. And a fun fact, I like hanging out with my friends.
Thank you guys for sharing and for introducing yourselves. Jeremiah and Nkosi are the presenters for this week's session on credit building. So you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves and hop right in.
Hello, I'm Nkosi. I am a Young Money Manager, and I've been with the STL Youth Jobs program for 3 years now. Fun fact about me is I like to read books. It's not really that fun, but.
I'm Jeremiah. I recently taught SMART goals and budgeting. So I'm back here teaching credit building. A fun fact is I definitely love working out and swimming. So that's me. So to get right into it, so if a few of you could, I guess, unmute yourselves or type in the chat, let us know a fun fact about you, or if you're excited about this credit building process.
Hi, my name is Bryn Neely, and a fun fact about me is I like to travel a lot.
What was the question?
We were just asking if you guys could unmute or type in the chat some fun facts about yourself, just so we can get to know each other a little bit better.
How y'all doing? My name is Gerald Burton. I've been with STL Youth Jobs since the summer of 2019. I work with a nonprofit organization called Dream Builders for Equity. And one thing about me is I love writing poetry, and I'm pursuing a career and degree in journalism.
I love that. That's lovely. I love poetry. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Mary. I started the STL Youth Job Program this summer. A fun fact about me is I like to do hair.
Hi, my name is Johnny Lattimore. I started STL Youth Job. I've been at STL Youth Job for 4 years now. Whew, long 4 years. But a fun fact about me is I love painting.
All right, awesome. Loved hearing all of these amazing things, all these fun facts. So let's go ahead and let me make sure that I'm on the right page here. we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're here today for our understanding credit workshop presentation, whatever you want to call it. And here we are. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yep.
You guys can see it? Sweet.
All right, so I guess I get into it. All right. All right, so again, like I said, this is me and Cozy, and we are teaching understanding credit. Let's see, middle space. You got it. So we went through the icebreaker. Definitely glad all of you that did interact with it, interacted. Hopefully we hear a few more different names and faces as we go throughout.
All right. Oh yeah, how many of us have credit cards? We forgot to mention that, but like if you guys have credit cards and whatnot, that'd be cool to know. You don't have to like tell
do.
us credit card information. All right. So
I have a credit card.
sweet. So, you know, as you said, some of us have credit cards, and in this presentation, we're going to be learning how to use them effectively so that they can serve us the best, and so that we can be prepared to have stronger financial futures and develop and reach sort of the understanding how to reach goals that we can take for financial freedom, which is something that is very essential within our community. And when I say our community, I mean in the Black community. I'm assuming that a lot of us here, most of us here, if not all of us, are African American, and that's definitely something that we as a people have to understand a lot better. All right. For some reason, it's not working.
Check the chat.
All right. There's some going on in the chat. So here are our learning objectives. We have what is credit, the difference between a credit report and a credit score, how you can check your credit, how you can fix your credit in the event that it is tarnished in some way, how to use a credit card, or well, what is a credit card? How do you pick a credit card? How you use one? Why paying your bills is crucial. How to maximize your credit score, if your score is actually important, and if credit is indeed discriminatory. I'm sure that we've all heard, you know, us saying like, oh, it's negative, it affects us differently, this, that, and the other. A lot of people in the chat speaking about their credit cards, if they do have one, and a lot of them do, which is awesome.
And for those of you who don't, we're definitely, the whole point of this is to bring you through the step-by-step of how to get into one. And hopefully at the end of it, you have a good idea or at least a general idea of how to get one. And hopefully you get into getting one. So.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So here we have, what is credit?
All right, so before we get into it, how many of you guys know what credit is? I know we all know what a credit card is, or at least have one, but how many of us know what a credit card is or what credit is?
Let's check the chat. You got the chat up?
Yeah. Anybody? If you want to, you can either unmute or put it in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Somebody said the ability to borrow money or access goods or services with the understanding that you'll pay later. Perfect. That's right on the nose. So credit, put simply, again, is a financial resume. And again, of course, with your resume, whether that's your credit or your actual business resume, you don't want nothing bad on it. And if you do have something bad on it, you want the least negative as possible. Your credit score is the financial GPA, and it determines your ability, again, to things like lease property, get insurance, get low interest rates, and look good in the eyes of the lenders. Again, like your resume, you want to appease the people that you're giving your resume to, or that your person that is looking at your resume is looking at. All right, so before we get into it, how many of us know what a credit score and what a credit report is, the difference between the two?
The credit report is more detailed than the credit score. Credit score is just like the percentage and the rate.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, in the chat, somebody says 1 is a number. Okay, perfect. So that's the credit score.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add, so it's like the credit score, is that like a grade that you're pretty much giving like on your credit report? So like the number that you're giving pretty much like breaks down like trying to think of the word I'm trying to say. Like I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to make it make sense.
I definitely understand what you're saying. So the number, so the number is the credit score. It's like
Yes.
a so to speak. Like 8 somewhere in like the 6, 7s or whatever. It's like perfect or whatever. But yeah, it's a grade all depicting off what your credit report is representing.
Yeah, so your credit score, the number is just basically a number that determines how likely you are to pay your bills. If you are more likely to pay your bills, your score is higher, but if you aren't, your score will be lower. And as you can see in the picture at the bottom here, your credit worthiness is graded on a scale of 300 to 850, 300 being the worst, and 850 being the best.
Like somebody said in the chat, the number is the value or rate basically. So depicting off how high or how low you are, it all reflects again on how much leniency will you get with whatever you're trying to go through. So let's get into it. A credit report is a collection of info about you. And also a credit report have your employment history, your bankruptcies, if you filed any, your credit, your student loans, your judgments, and your inquiries. Credit score is a number ranging from, again, 300 to 850, used to represent the credit worthiness of an individual. If you do not, again, before we finish, if you do not have a credit score, you're automatically put in as a 0, which is perfect because it's easier to build a credit score than to fix it. So if you don't have one, no need to stress. It'll be a lot easier to build it up to get to you to where you need to be than to have to fix it and go through and dispute things.
Yeah.
And again, a credit score is based on your credit report.
Yeah. Like Jeremiah said, it's much easier to build than rebuild. You don't really want to rebuild your credit. You want to just start. I'd rather start from 0
Scratch,
than have
yeah.
a 350 credit score trying to work my way to, get a nice apartment.
So if you don't have one, no need to worry. This is us trying to show you or give you a general idea of how to put it through. Basically, it is the number understanding of your likelihood to pay your bills on time. Somebody said in the chat, does the report show how you spend? So it basically, yes, it shows you how you spending, how you're paying your things on time. Again, it's a report of everything that your credit card has been through. So before Nkosi explains the different ways to check it, what do you guys, those that do have your credit card, what do you guys check your credit reports or your credit scores on?
Credit Karma. That's what I use.
I heard Credit Karma was bad.
I was like, we definitely gonna get into that. But before we do that, how many? So we got Credit Karma. Anybody else?
Discovered.
Okay. Anybody
Check
else?
Chat too. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
I was trying to see for those of us that has our credit card, or know about a credit card, what are different sites that you look up your credit score or your credit report on?
Is it FICO?
Okay, so that's another one.
Mhm.
You wanna,
Okay, so let's get into this slide here, how you can check your credit report. There are 3 free places where you can go and check your credit report as of now. You want to check your credit report at least yearly to make sure that you have not been a victim of fraud. As of the year 2020, 1 in 10 people are victims of identity fraud, and 1 in 5 of those people are likely to experience it again. As you can see here at the bottom of the screen, we have the 3 credit places where you can check your credit. You can do this through Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. You can go to the website, My Annual Credit Report, and you'll have a link to these places where you can check. Each of these places usually now gets you 1 free credit report check. But as of right now, because of the pandemic, there were so many people that were, being victims of fraud and needing to check their credit reports. You can check your credit report once a week for free until April of 2022.
you wanna talk to them about that Credit Karma being inaccurate?
With Credit Karma being inaccurate, much like any other credit reporting website, has its flaws and problems. If you want to get the best if you want to get the best and most immediate credit check, you would using your credit card provider works really well. I have Capital One, and through the Capital One app, I can check my credit score, and it updates in real time. And it'll update sometimes faster than Equifax or Experian or TransUnion or Credit Karma or any of these other places. So yeah.
Any questions before we move on?
Yes. I
What's
have I guess I have like a small question. So, I guess like with Credit Karma, I was just gonna say that it's connected to another credit I guess like institution. So like when I look on like the Credit Karma app, it like shows like my credit score twice. So it shows it from like one I guess like credit bureau and then like another one, but like my scores are like different, if that makes sense. Like on
And that-
Credit Karma, my score is like higher, and then on like the
So
other credit bureau is like lower, if that
yeah,
makes
so
sense.
as I said previously, these credit bureaus, they change it's basically dependent on how quickly they can update. So it might, one place your score might be a couple of points higher, one place your score might be a couple of points lower. What's it say in the chat?
So somebody says in the chat that Credit Karma actually shows the estimate. So
Yeah.
basically that's why they give you like 2 different scores. Like one's like a close accurate, and then one's like a generalization of it. And a question in the chat was, will my score go down if I check it through my credit card account? And how often can you check it before it starts affecting?
You can check your credit score as often as you want. Your credit report is the one that you might have to pay for. But once a week, but you can check it once a week for free with each of the credit bureaus right now. But no, your credit report, you can check your credit score. I mean, you can check as many times as you want. I wouldn't recommend checking it all the time because it'll just probably drive you crazy with like trying to look at, like, oh, is it going down? Is it going up? Because it's really constantly changing depending on what you're doing. So let's get into this slide. How can I check my credit score? You can check your credit score the same way as the credit report. You may also be able to check it with your credit card company, as I said, or your financial institution. There are also free credit scoring sites or credit scoring services.
Somebody said in the chat, would you recommend Mint instead of Credit Karma?
I wouldn't. For me personally, I check it with my credit card provider because they update they update very quickly. But it really just depends on what you prefer. Because really they all serve the same purpose. They all do the same thing. So at the end of the day, as long as you are checking it and making sure that you're on top of things, you're doing the right thing. So it doesn't really matter what you're using. I mean, it does matter. You don't want to use the wrong thing and give anybody any messed up information. You want to go with legitimate uh, sites, and you want to check it with legitimate sources. But you should just be checking, making sure that you're on top of things in that regard.
I was like, one word I would definitely use throughout this whole thing is research. Figure out what fits best with your credit card and the company you're with, and then go from there. Today, we're just giving you like a generalization of what to go and how to go from where. So I would definitely, after this, take what we gave you and then just research it some more, and dive into it deeper, because everybody has a different credit card and everybody's score and report is different.
Yeah, definitely, guys. You know, I can't emphasize it enough. Research, research, research. You have to do the research. You know, I wish I could tell you everything on it, but I don't know a lot, but I don't know everything. And it's going to be up to us to make sure that we are doing the research to stay on top of things and make sure that we know how our financial futures are going to be affected by our financial decisions today. So here we have a slide. My credit score is bad. How many of us know somebody who has bad credit?
Or has bad credit. I
Me.
Or have bad credit? Yeah, it's very common. It is
But
very,
no,
very,
it's because somebody used my information to
yeah.
end up I never like took money. Like I don't even know how to take money from Speedy Cash place or nowhere. So somebody used my information, my social security number, and all of that, and they took out a cash, some money from Speedy Cash, and that stuck on my balance. And somebody bought a phone from AT&T in my name, and it's like all of that. Like them two is the main priority on my credit report that won't leave. And I tried calling all three credit barriers, all of that. Like it won't, like ain't nothing. It's nothing that I can do. So at this point, yeah, it's nothing that I can do. It that's messing up my credit for me getting an apartment and everything. So yeah.
I was like, so with us, like, again, like with disputes and all that, like the whole point of us is where we're trying to show you how. So hopefully, we give you some new ideas or some new research tips and ideas to help you out. And if not, rebuild. Unfortunately, as hard as that is, and as hard as that, as easy as it is to say than do, sometimes you just have to rebuild as the last option. But the chat, somebody says, so I've had a credit since I started college, and on my credit report, it says poor for the section of the age of credit. Do you know exactly what that means?
Yeah. So that basically just means that you just haven't had your cards that long. I'm not sure how old you are, but you said once you started college.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to like kind of elaborate on what I said. So pretty much what I'm saying is that I just recently just got a credit card, and this is my senior year of college, and the only thing that's on my credit right now is a one student loan that I have. So that's really it. And I really don't have that much credit. So I think that's the reason why it says that, is because I guess I really don't have that much credit to like show for in a way. That's what it's
It's just the length of your credit history is how long you've had credit, and you just haven't had it a very long time. And the longer you are with a credit card company, the better you look to lenders, because it shows that you're stable. And that's just sort of that's why that's on there. It has nothing to do with you being irresponsible or anything like that, because everybody has student loans.
right.
So that's really all that is.
Okay, thank you.
But as Janae was saying with the, she what she do? She said she spoke to all three of the credit bureaus and something, and they just weren't doing anything. There's a resource with, I believe, St. Louis Builds Credit, where they help with representing people who have dealt with that. Because I remember being on a Zoom call, and they were talking about credit building and things like that, and a person was in the same situation that John A was in. And so I recommend that you get in touch with St. Louis Builds Credit.
I got in touch with them and prosthetic something connection. I got with them too, but they told me the same thing. They told me to call all three credit bureaus and figure that out. They sent papers like for me to fill out, but when I like sent them back, it's not saying nothing. It's just saying that I have so I found out it's a law that if they don't remove it, the law have to get into it and they go shut that place down or something like that. That's what I heard. So I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I heard when I called them.
So like what I would do for you is consistency is key. So I would keep calling and keep asking about it. The last thing that they want, what they're trying to see is if you're serious about your credit score and your credit report. So I would just keep calling and keep asking about it and keep looking for a solution, because that's all they're trying to do is see if you're serious about it. And those that are not serious will fall off and they won't have to worry about it or
Just
whatever on their
exhausting
end.
your resources. You have to, just make sure you're being consistent. If you do have to get those people shut down, shut them down. Make sure that you're on top of that. I would recommend, if you have to, do a credit freeze to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Basically, it just means that nobody can open new lines of credit or anything like that with your credit score. And you can do this through the 3 credit bureaus, a credit freeze. So if that's something you have to do it as well. But let's get into this slide here. My credit score is bad. How can I fix it? There are many ways to fix your credit if it is bad. The first way is to make sure you're paying your bills on time and to stay out of debt. Secondly, check your credit score. There could potentially be errors. Check your credit report. There could potentially be errors that you need to get corrected in order to fix your score. As I stated before, sometimes not even people will get into your, credit accounts or get a hold of your social security or information in that nature. It could just be a mistake on the end of the bureaus. If you file a dispute, they find that to be true, it'll fix your credit. Be aware that it takes anywhere from 1 to 2 years of responsible credit management in order to make an impact on your credit. So basically, it just means that you aren't going to be able to fix your credit overnight if it's bad. It'll take a little while, but it is possible. You can fix your credit with a responsible utilization. Remember also, once again, check your credit report. Due to the pandemic, you can do this weekly. Check your credit report with Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. And the feature, as I stated, is available through April of 2022. Here we have a video. Hopefully it works. I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to optimize the video so that it shows up better. If it's not working, just let me know through the chat. We'll shut it off and then get through with the rest of the slides because there's a lot of important information that I want to hit on. Let's see.
With Fundrise, the same kind of real estate investments that have powered the world's strongest portfolios for decades.
Meet Jasmine. Jasmine is a college student attending State University. Like many college students, Jasmine has a lot of things she needs to buy: books, laundry baskets, food, and so on. And she can pay for those things with 2 types of money: debit or credit. Debit is money that comes from a personal bank account. Credit is money that is lent to you by your bank. For example, let's say Jasmine has been using a credit card. Each time Jasmine uses the card to buy something, say a $100 textbook, her bank is loaning her the money. While that sounds nice, be warned, the bank isn't giving Jasmine this money for free. They expect her to pay a certain amount of money each month, called interest, if she doesn't totally pay off her balance by the due date. As you can imagine, this can get very expensive very quickly, especially when factoring in the high annual interest rates, or APRs, that are charged by these companies. However, there is a solution to this rather scary problem. As long as Jasmine always pays off her balance in full by the monthly due date, she'll never pay a cent of interest. Jasmine is shocked and thrilled, but still isn't quite sold on credit cards. After all, with all their flaws, are they really worth using? The short answer, as long as you avoid running up a balance, definitely. So why is that? Well, free money for starters. Most credit cards offer their users rewards, like cashback or airline miles, each time they make a purchase. For example, let's say Jasmine's credit card comes with 2% cashback. That means if Jasmine spends $500 per month, then at the end of the month, she'll automatically get $10 back, no questions asked. Then, if that wasn't good enough, responsibly using a credit card also allows Jasmine to build a great credit score. This is a calculated number between 300 and 850 that summarizes your credit history, covering everything from your payment history to the age and status of your accounts. While we'll teach you more about your credit score, including how to get and improve it, in our next video, Credit Scores and Reports 101, just know for now that most credit cards actually require a credit score of at least 600, plus at least $15,000 in annual income and a reasonable debt payment to income ratio, generally below 36%. However, thankfully for Jasmine, who lacks both credit history and a full-time job, she shouldn't have a problem getting a student credit card. In fact, the online application will take all of 5 minutes. She'll just have to be a full-time student of at least 18 years of age, with either a small amount of income, like from a part-time job, or a credit-worthy cosigner. However, at this point we have to say, be careful. Taking on a cosigner is no small matter. The account is still in your name, so any credit mistakes are on you and your cosigner. Plus, your cosigner is even liable for any of your missed payments. If Jasmine isn't quite ready for that level of responsibility, she can instead be added as an authorized user to her family's account. Not only will this allow her to get her own credit card, but in a few short months, the credit bureaus will treat her parents' credit score as her own. Sounds pretty great, right? Well, this strategy isn't a cure-all. Even though Jasmine isn't liable for payments on the account, her parents still are. Plus, many lenders will want to see you successfully handling credit on your own before giving you a major loan. Hopefully you and Jasmine now understand the basics of credit cards. Be sure to watch our next video, which covers everything you need to know about credit scores, and be sure to check out our website, where you can find more educational materials, your free credit score, and great credit card recommendations.
All right. So that was the video. I hope you all learned. It's from the chat, I'm seeing that it showed up well, which I'm very happy about. I moved a little bit too fast.
I'm gonna hop in here real fast. So I just want to let you guys know that the link to that video will be in the email that Camille sends out tomorrow. I know it kind of sped through the whole credit process, so be sure to check out that email with the link so you can watch it on your own time and kind of digest it more that way.
So yeah. The video also mentioned an authorized user, which is a really cool credit hack for any people that are parents currently. You can do that for your children to help build a good credit score when they reach, maturity, when they reach adulthood and can get their own credit. It's really, really useful. It's a hack that will be really, really good for a lot of young Black people coming up. We tend to have lower credit scores because, as we'll get into, some discriminatory elements in credit and whatnot. So that's definitely an important thing. I can't stress that enough. Authorized user, and it's good for people whose credit is currently bad. You can be added as a authorized user to a person who has who's very responsible with their credit. So if you do currently have bad credit, you can get a responsible person that you trust that uses their credit responsibly, so that they can so that your credit score can eventually reflect theirs.
All right, so what is a credit card? So like most of you said, most of you have a credit card. And most of you know what a credit card is, or we're going through what a credit card is. So, all right, so credit cards are cards that let you spend money that you are borrowing from a lending company, unlike a debit card that lets you have access to your own money in your own bank account. So for those of you that do not have one, hopefully we are breaking down how to use one and how it really helps over just cash based. With using a credit card, do not spend money you wouldn't normally spend because you have a credit card, just because you have a credit card. So again, at the end of the day, if you aren't able to pay back that money that you're spending, more money is piled on top of it. We'll get into utilization rates and all that, but the last thing you want to do is have to have interest rates on top of interest rates on top of interest rates, because now you have to pay back more money than you even spent. You want to have a low credit utilization rate to build credit. Using less than 10% push you in an excellent credit utilization rate, which raises your credit score fast. But the ideal amount is roughly 30% or less. So you want to have less than 30% use of your utilization rate. But to keep you within to keep you from drowning, you want to stay in that 10% range. So you can have a little more than a little bit of wiggle room throughout your credit card use.
Right. So here we have how to pick a credit card. First, checking your credit, knowing what your credit is. If you're a new,
No.
Mama.
knowing how
Somebody might accidentally be unmuted. Check yourself real quick.
yeah, somebody's I think they're good now. All right, but yeah, how to pick a credit card, check your credit. Make sure you're picking a card that reflects where you are in your financial journey. 2, identify the type of card that you need. What kind of card that you need. There are different kinds of credit cards, and we'll be getting into that eventually. Number 3, please read that fine print. Make sure that you know what you are getting yourself into when it comes to these cards before you accept it. Please read the fine print of really anything that you deal with, especially when it comes to finances, because being in debt is not fun. Number 4, find a card that offers you the highest overall value. Like I said, highest overall value, it can be dependent on how you view it. If you're a person who likes to travel, they said offer flight rewards like flight miles, all that different kinds of stuff. And we have a NerdWallet article right here on how to pick the best credit card for you. And I'm gonna click this link on. Here we have how to pick the best credit card for you, 4 easy steps. We won't be going over everything, but here, number 1, as I said, check your credit, find out what credit card offers, you might be eligible for by checking that credit. Number 2, identify the type of card that you need. There are 3 general types of cards. Cards that help you improve credit when it's limited or damaged, cards that can help you save money on interest, and cards that earn rewards. Number 3, narrow your choices by asking the right questions. Will it help you build your credit? For student and secured cards, how much does it cost to open an account, including the annual fee? Can I graduate to a better card later on? For the low interest, 0% APR balance transfer credit cards, how long is the 0% APR period? And what's the ongoing interest APR? What is the card's balance transfer?
Let me know what APR means before we get into it.
You can go into that.
You good.
Does the card offer rewards? How do I spend my money? And for the rewards, travel or cashback cards, how do I spend my money? How complicated is this credit card? How quickly will I earn rewards? How much are they worth? And number 4, apply for the card that offers you the highest overall value. for people who are students, myself, I'm a student. I like, you want a card that has a credit limit automatically increase, interest paid on the deposit, for low interest, zero APR or balance, transfer cards, lower required spending, no expiration date on rewards. And that's just some of the basics on here. These, like, as I said, you will be able to have access to these slides so that you can go over this stuff. Because like we said before, it takes research. We didn't learn we weren't born with this knowledge. And a lot of the time we don't get we aren't educated on this in our schools. And yeah, go.
So before we move on, I'm teaching you guys as well as you guys are teaching me. So what are some ways that you guys track your credit card rate? Like, how do you keep yourself from going over, or like, tell me some tips. Like, well, I'm teaching you, but you guys are showing me some things so I can, take back after this.
So one way I track my credit card spending is I pretty much just check all my account statements as soon as they arrive. So like I pretty much just like my bank statements are like I'm not gonna say it's embarrassing because I know sometimes I spend more money than I should, but with this budgeting app that I use, I kind of just like see what I should be spending and what I shouldn't be spending. And with having a credit card, I only use it for like emergencies only, because I know that even though the money is there, sometimes I just, I see shoes, I'm like, oh yeah, let me get that. And I'm like, oh, never mind, no, because I have to pay this back. So I'm just pretty much just using it for emergencies only, or if I actually really need it and I don't have it right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's actually a perfect way to use it. Anybody else?
Although I'm kind of young, I don't have any active like line of credit right now. I would kind of do the same thing as far as like checking my statements. And like I said, I've learned that you can use credit to pay off like subscriptions and stuff like that to slowly but surely build up your credit. So me personally, I will put that type of stuff in my notes. Like I know that my money's gonna come out in this month, so I need to have this paid back by this time. So I'll be very particular with personally tracking all of my expenses with my credit card.
Definitely.
That was actually something perfect that you brought up, subscriptions. For those of you that are just now coming about to getting your credit card, I would put like Netflix, HBO, like small stuff that comes monthly that isn't as big to pay, just to start you off to build that credit, then start to gradually get into bigger things. Yeah. You want to crawl before you walk. So you want to, start off with those subscriptions first and then get into anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. You can utilize it'll definitely keep you at a low utilization rate. And also you can use it to buy gas as well. You know what I'm saying? Using your money to buy everything else. If you don't have any subscription services that you pay for personally, if you have a car, you can just use it to, buy gas. Gas is like take you like $30 to fill a tank, So it's like it's pretty bad.
So what stands out to you guys? For those of you that actually have like a credit card, what stands out to you guys when picking a credit card? Like what catches your interest throughout the process, and what is that deciding factor?
Well, what caught my eye when I decided to get the credit card that I have now is pretty much just having a low APR rate, and then the interest that they give you back when you make payments onto your credit card. So for instance, like if I pretty much made a payment on my credit card and I made more than I should, like I pretty much paid on it more than I should, then they'll pretty much give me an interest back. So
yeah. And for those of you that are wondering what APR is, it's annual percentage rate. Sorry if I didn't like specify that earlier, but yeah, APR is annual percentage rate. Let's get on to this next slide. Okay. As you can see here, it's filling up, but after you pick a card, what is next? Like, what do you do next? How do you move after you've picked out your credit card? Well, let me tell you, use it. You want to definitely make purchases with the card, but responsibly. I don't recommend, now if that's just not something that you're comfortable with, if you got a card, you don't really like spending money on it, you don't have to. But if you want to build credit, use it and make purchases with your card responsibly. You don't have to spend, yeah, you don't have to spend a a bunch of money on a bunch of different stuff. You want to use, if you don't use it a lot, use less than 10%. Less than 10% puts you at an excellent credit utilization rate, as we said, and that'll shoot your credit score way faster than anything. Never spend more than 30% of your limit. Basically, like I said before, excellent is in the less than 10% range. 30% or less is like fair, but you never want to go over that 30%. Or if you do, make sure you pay that down before it's reported to the credit bureaus. You don't have to pay it in full before your balance is due, but you want to pay it off when it's due. But if you say you have a $1,000 credit limit and you go and buy a $500 pair of shoes, you're an idiot, but you can pay the price of those shoes down to say $80 before your credit limit is due, and you can and then when your bill is due, that $80 is what's reported to the credit bureaus, not the $500. So you spent half of your line of credit, but you paid it down to where it's now only that $80 is.
I was like, yeah, they're only looking at what you're sitting at the end of that payment time.
Yeah.
So they're not looking, they don't care what you have going on in the between. It's what's at the end and what's your ending balance at the end of it that they're looking at fully. That's what the whole credit score is coming off of. What is that ending balance and how high is it?
So yeah, pay your balance off in full to avoid that interest, because interest is gonna, cost you more money, and paying the balance off when it's due is a money saving tactic. It will save you way more money. Pay off your balance every month before the due date. I don't know about that. Who added that? But pay your balance off. The higher the balance, you can pay it when it's due. The higher the balance, the more you'll be charged in interest. So you want to definitely not make sure that you don't incur a bunch of, you want to make sure you don't incur a huge debt on there. Paying off your balance in full monthly will eliminate you having to pay interest, which is great. Build your credit with regular, on-time, small purchases. Avoid getting multiple cards at once. You don't really want to do that, especially when you're young. When you're older, having a lot of cards and experience in using them and knowing how to use them is great. And then at the last one, protect your card information. Please protect your card information. Do not get, like, if somebody's on Twitter like, oh, everybody's broke, don't nobody got credit cards, don't send a picture of your credit card like, no, I'm not broke.
I was like, use that gut feeling. Like, yeah, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Yeah.
Again, research.
Absolutely.
Research.
I remember just a couple of days ago, I got a call saying that somebody spent $500 on my Amazon account from some guy with an accent. And he was like, we need your credit card information. And I was like, well, I mean, if y'all are the credit card company, y'all should already know that. And he was like, you didn't he's like, but we want to make sure. I'm like, no, you should already know that. And then he just hung up. So clearly he was trying to scam me, but my brain is so big that I did not fall for such foolish tactics. Okay, how to maximize your credit score. Here you have the credit utilization chart. 0 to 9% is excellent. 10 to 29% is good. 30 to 49% is fair. 50 to 74% is poor, and 74 plus, very poor. Evaluate your life decisions. How to maximize your credit score. Having 2 lines of credit usually works. The first line of credit being a credit card, second line of credit being a loan. You don't always have to get a loan. I would recommend in the beginnings, the first line being your credit card. You don't really have to pay off student loans until a little while after you graduate. But that is also, paying those off consistently helps as well. Number two, subscriptions like streaming services. If you put Netflix is what, 15 a month or something like that now. 15 a month.
It's
HBO,
$7.
7 or something like that. All these other apps, Hulu's like $5. Adding those to your card and then paying those off monthly will definitely keep you at a low utilization rate, depending on your credit limit. And yeah, so the credit utilization chart is really, really useful in helping to understand how exactly.
And make sure you know what you're subscribed to.
Yeah.
That goes in with budgeting. Knowing what you're subscribed to, so you don't look up and see that there's just being money taken out of your account for a subscription that you don't use no more. Cancel it. If you're not using it no more and you don't know and you don't want that money being taken out, cancel it and use that money towards something else. The last thing you want to do is look up and you're getting charged $50 for a subscription that you don't even use or know what it's for.
Absolutely. Yeah, make sure. Why is paying your bills so important? The question is kind of stupid because we know why paying our bills is important. I like electricity and lights. I really love being able to walk into my house after, if it's dark outside and just being able to turn on a light. I'm a simple man. I enjoy the simple things. But according to moneyunder30.com, payment history is approximately 35% of your credit score, which makes it the most of any factor. As you can see here, we have the FICO score chart that shows up the credit makeup. If you can't see that, we also have it over here. Payment history at 35%, credit utilization is 30%, length of credit history, as somebody brought up earlier that they said that the length of credit history was like poor or something like that. Just depends on how long you had it. New credit is 10% and credit mix is 10%.
You want to go into depth on what that credit mix is?
So payment history. Are you paying your bills on time? Are they're checking your payment history to make sure that you are paying them on time, and that's the biggest of anything. Lenders want to make sure that you're paying your bills on time to know that you can pay them on time. They want to make sure that the person they're giving their money is reliable. 30% is credit utilization. As I said previously, how are you using the credit that's given to you? Are you using it responsibly, or are you spending 93% of your total balance every month on some ridiculous purchases? Are you doing that? Length of credit history. How long have you had this credit? The longer you have it, the more responsible you look in the eyes of lenders. New credit. Do you have any new credit? Just making sure, knowing if you can balance these things, knowing if you are capable of having multiple lines of credit. Your credit mix. What is in there? How diverse is your credit, I guess?
So there's a question in the chat. It says, if a credit bureau denies you a credit card because you do not have enough credit, but you're applying for a credit to build it, what does that mean?
If a credit bureau denies you a credit bureau denies you a credit card.
If you want to unmute.
So for instance, say for instance, okay, this is just a scenario. So pretty much you just graduated high school, right? And you pretty much want to start building your credit, but you don't have any credit. And so you pretty much go to apply for a credit card, and they pretty much send you something in an email that pretty much tells you why you got denied for applying for the credit card. And it tells you you don't have enough credit utilization. That's pretty much what I was asking, if that makes sense.
Again, so that was a perfect question. So basically all this is going off of history. Again, you wouldn't loan nobody no money if you never had no trust history. So basically, they're denying you simply because they don't have that history with you. They don't have nobody saying, okay, this is a solid person to give a card to. A lot of people, again, that's their money that they're lending you. A lot of people don't want to give out that money or trust that you'll be their first person to get a car with. So it's nothing bad. You just have to now go and find somebody that is willing to give you that, willing to let you build that credit history safely.
Yeah, it's an age thing. You know, they're going off of how young you are. Typically, you know, they'll ask how much do you make annually and things of that nature. If you know someone that is responsible with their credit, they can also do a refer a friend thing. I believe that Capital One has that. That's how I got my card. My mother referred me, and I got approved just a few seconds later, and I had a pretty nice line of credit. So that's another thing. But
Can I
yeah,
May
I
I
have
ask a
a
question?
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
You can go first.
It was just like kind of just to like add to what I was saying, but I was just gonna say, so would you say that, so pretty much with our credit card, it's a loan that we're paying back. And so for instance, like I know this might sound kind of weird, but for instance, so say for instance you're trying to get like a loan for like school or whatever, and like it pretty much tells you like you need a cosigner because you don't have enough credit, and pretty much the cosigner is just like someone that pretty much is just like vouching for you that, you know, like so that you can get the loan for school. So is that true that pretty much like if you're trying to apply for like a credit card that you could have a cosigner to like sign for you, or does that not work in that case, if that makes sense?
to get a credit card,
Yes.
yes. So in the event that you got someone to co-sign for you, you would then have the opportunity to get that card. But it would also it would be up to, not only would the responsibility be on you, but the responsibility would also be on the person who co-signed for that card for you. So in the event that you rack up a debt that you can't spend, that you can't pay off, that responsibility would then go to the person that co-signed for you.
So basically, get somebody that you trust and trust you to get somebody that you can trust to keep you on top of those things. So whether that's a trusted adult, a mentor, or a job coach or somebody to keep you on top of those things, so you can again build credit. That's the whole point of this. So you can do more and become better with it.
Yeah, I recommend definitely, in this case, I would recommend a relative of your parents, somebody. If you don't have responsible parents, don't do it, because obviously we're old enough to know if our parents are responsible or not. Some of us don't have responsible parents. Not to diss anybody, but yeah, just if that's the case, just make sure that you are paying it off. Don't think that just because of the fact that they're a cosigner, it'll just go to them and you don't have to pay it off, because that, no, it's gonna affect you too. All right, next slide.
May I ask one question, please?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I was in Macy's, and like, you know, you can open up lines of like credit in store and stuff like that. And you know, the minimum, like, you know, average like annual income was like 20,000. And I told the lady that I don't have an income of that much. And she told me to just put down 20,000. So like, why would she put me in that situation, or why would she tell me to put down a random number when I don't even have like, you know, income like that?
So basically, those are one of those scams, again, to keep you in debt, to keep you paying. Again, with that, there's lines in between. Of course, you're gonna have an interest rate if you don't pay on top of that. So there'll be more money that they're getting monthly, yearly, or whenever you finally pay it off. So again, it's just another scam. They normally tell you not to sign up for those cards, especially if you don't go to those stores often, simply because there's things in between. Nobody's gonna tell you to sign up for a credit card right then and there, right now, because simply that's just unsafe. It's just quick cash for the business to get.
Yeah, pretty much. These employees they're employees. They're given incentives to get people to sign up for these cards.
For sure.
And you definitely just want to be weary. Like if you're a person who shops at Macy's frequently, if you have the means to pay for a card, sure, go ahead, go for it, do it. But you have to just be aware that it's a pretty much a lifelong commitment. The credit cards, you don't closing credit cards is bad for your credit. It is. It'll actually hurt your credit if you close a credit card, which is kind of stupid, but it's reality. So you just want to be aware that that's a lifelong commitment. And if you're a person that shops at Macy's or J.C. Penney or any of these places, go crazy.
And even if you are
maybe not go crazy.
Even if you are a person that shops at those stores frequently, don't use your own credit card that you opened up with your own credit bureau. Simply because that interest rate is going to be so much higher with Macy's compared to your credit bureau. Simply because Macy's is going to want to clear your pockets completely. And the credit bureau is just simply wanting to, those consequences hit you with just a little bit on top of what Macy's is trying to do. They're just trying to empty as much pockets as they can.
All right, next.
Hopefully that answered what you was asking.
All right, now let's get
Yes,
into
sir.
the juicy topic. A lot of people have a question about.
That means it's crazy.
Is credit discriminatory, right? For those of you that don't know the origins of credit reports and credit scores, back in the day, a long time ago, well, not really that long ago, because it was only in like the 60s. And we probably know people, all of us probably know somebody who was born in the 60s. They used to have loan officers. And these loan officers, most of the time, would be white men who would determine if you are able to get a loan to buy a house in this whatever neighborhood. To buy a house in whatever neighborhood or to get whatever thing that you want. Now, as we know for a fact, segregation existed, and in the city, it still sort of exists. If you live in St. Louis, it's quite a segregated city. And basically, these loan officers would basically deny people loans to get in these houses because of the color of their skin, sometimes because of their gender, and these different things. So say a Black family can't afford a particular thing, and they deny them for it and put them in an all Black neighborhood that may not be indicative of the economic ability of their economic ability. So that's why credit scores and credit reports exist today, because they were meant to be an unbiased algorithm that was created to nullify the need for a loan officer, because loan officers are people and people can be biased and racist and all these other awful things. But see, the thing about algorithms is that people have to make them. And when you make an algorithm, if you have a bias or a prejudice, your bias or prejudice can be reflected in that algorithm. And also, there's a difference between equality and equity. And though credit scores and reports are meant to bring about equality, they do nothing on the face of equity. And equity just means something is made that people who need the extra help get the extra help to be on the same tier as people who've already had that boost, who don't need it. So is credit discriminatory? The credit system, like many systems in the United States, is unfortunately discriminatory. African Americans and Hispanic Americans typically tend to be held up by economically because of systemic racism.
Before you finish, somebody asked, what do you mean by algorithm?
An algorithm? So an algorithm is a system, I guess, for lack of a better word, that is created for example, like a computer algorithm would just be a outline of how things are supposed to go for that computer. Like it basically determines how that computer works internally, if that makes sense. I don't know who asked that question.
So it's a breakdown of how something is supposed to work. So basically, a blueprint.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's a
to break it down to a better word.
Yeah. So as I said, African Americans and Hispanic Americans tend to be held behind economically because of systemic racism. In fact, according to CNBC, around 54% of Black Americans report a poor or fair credit score, and the same goes for 41% of Hispanic Americans. So with debt and savings playing such a huge role in credit scores, Black and Hispanic people are at a disadvantage because we make less money on average, which typically leads to us having less in our savings. And so to make an analysis, say in the event that you get into a bad car accident and you are very badly wounded, you survive, and thankfully, but you get that hospital bill. And the hospital bill is well beyond anything that you have in your savings, and you aren't able to pay that off. You may incur credit card debt that you might end up not being able to pay off as well. So it starts a cycle of debt that you can't get out of. And as you know, debt is bad for your credit score. So it's really a bad situation for a lot of Black and Hispanic people because of the fact that we make less money on average. And that causes us to have less in our savings to fall back on in the event that we do have something that happens where we need to fall back on it. And here I have some articles speaking on the correlation between race and credit, a Washington Post article and a CNBC article. These are both from 2020 and 2021 respectively. The first one being from October of 2020, and I'll be opening both to just look over it a little. So as it says here from the title, if you can see, credit scores are supposed to be race neutral, and that's impossible. Blacks must make extraordinary efforts to overcome the discrimination that is often hidden in financial policies or products that are supposed to be bias-free. This article was very, very important. It was very interesting to me. I really enjoyed it. It goes over credit score bias. Speaking of loan officers, I'm not going to read over this entire article, but I really, really hope that you all, when this is emailed out to you, you open these articles and look over them because they're very informative, and they really bring about more insight than I probably ever could for this particular situation. Right here, it was a really powerful line. Please don't shake your head thinking, stop making excuses for the failure of Black people to lift themselves up. To this, I would argue, if you purposely or even intentionally trip someone and he or she falls and gets hurt, you can't turn around and say, it's your fault you fell. You should have watched where you were walking. America has got to stop tripping Black people. I thought that was a really powerful line. Decades of discrimination in employment, lending policies, debt collection, and even criminal prosecution have left Black families struggling to make ends meet. These are just a few of the things that I thought were really, really powerful about this particular article. And in the next one, we see CNBC. Black and Hispanic Americans often have lower credit scores, and here's why they're hit harder. They go into it. 37% of white Americans report having bad or no credit, and only 18% of Asian Americans, and then 54% of Black Americans and 41% of Hispanic Americans. Debt and savings playing a role in credit scores. Poor credit has long-reaching consequences. These are all things that this particular article talks about, and I thought it was really, really important. And I really urge you all to do some research on it for yourselves, because we have to understand how to fight these battles, because often our country fails us as Black people, as Hispanic people, as people of color. Our country fails us sometimes, and we have to make sure that we are aware of these failures, and we have to make sure that we are preparing the next generations in order to heal this, heal these wrongs, and to close the wealth gap, because credit is also plays a part in why the wealth gap between in African American and Hispanic communities is so incredible.
Someone posted in the chat and asked if she asked if race plays a role in the credit score.
If race plays a role in the credit score, well, by extension of what I said, yes, race does play a role in how you are scored. Not because of the fact that explicitly because of the fact that they know, oh, this person's Black, but it's because of the fact that debt and savings play a very big role. Income plays a very big role. These are different things that play a role in it. Credit itself is not, there's not an evil person behind a computer that's like lowering people's credit scores. It's because of the fact that we just are often lacking in the resources that can put us in good positions to have strong credit scores and to be financially free and independent people. If that answers your question. It's not explicitly it's not that they explicitly know for a fact that you are African American, because this is just a computer doing this. It's being calculated based off of spending habits and all of these different things, but it is not a equitable system. Yeah, it's not an equitable system. Equity is the thing that's lacking in the credit system. And when I say equity, I mean, say there's a person that's 6 feet tall looking over a fence to watch a game, and there's a person that's 4 feet tall who can't look over the fence to watch a game. They're both at the fence. They're both hearing the game, but one person can see it because of the fact that they're taller. They're lucky enough to be tall. Equity would be someone getting something for that shorter person to stand on so that they can look over the fence too. If that makes sense. I tried to use an analogy. It might be terrible, and I apologize if it is, but there's a difference between equality and equity. And the credit score was meant to make things equal, but it's not necessarily equitable. But let's get on to the next.
Jeremiah, Nkosi, sorry. I love that analogy, by the way. But Dania has something she wants to add, so she's gonna hop on, give her 2 cents.
Yeah, just to kind of also be that clarification. Hold on one moment. Okay, so yeah, just to also kind of be that clarification of what they're saying is like, it might not be blatantly racist of how the credit system is set up, but a lot of times, yes, they do go based off of your income and those different things. For example, commonly known one is how many payday lenders do you see in your neighborhood versus a credit union and different things like that. So no, they're not going to blatantly say, oh, it's because you're Black. No, it's set up. They know who to pick and who to come from.
There are predatory lending practices that are in in our areas, in predominantly Black areas. You don't see payday lenders in white neighborhoods. You don't. Those places that's like where's that? Oh, they have a lot of them. They're all over the place. Payday lenders who are predatory lending to people who are already in a really bad situation financially, and it just exacerbates that. It makes it far worse. So, I urge you not to go to those payday lenders. Don't go to them. They're bad. They're going to take your money and then give you like a 300% interest rate off of a $200 loan. Don't go to it.
So maybe talk about the credit union and kind of maybe share a little comparison with how the payday lenders compare with the credit union and how credit unions serve the people, not the system.
So basically, a credit union is basically community-based. It's basically meant to serve the community as well as rebuild the community. Not so basically that's the biggest difference to me between a union and a lender. A union is community-based, so they're not just going to give you the truth, but they'll give you the things that you need to get the truth. So sitting down, talking to them, getting that knowledge right there in front of them, having somebody sit there with you and talk you through the process, on top of a lender who is just wanting to do a quick process, anything to get them to a quicker dollar. Not all money is good money. So if you need to, take your time out and go to a union instead of a lender. Get that community-based feeling for yourself and for your money.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference to me.
Yeah.
If you want to break down another difference.
No, yeah, you hit it right on the nose. That was perfect. But let's get into this slide here. Does this mean that my credit will be bad? No, it does not. This isn't an absolute. There are plenty of Black people that I know that have excellent credit scores. There are plenty of white people that I know that have awful credit scores. That's not an absolute. Your race is not an absolute. There are many Black and Hispanic Americans who have excellent credit scores, and you can be one as well. All it does is it takes adequate education. We have to be diligent. We have to be educated on how these matters affect us. And many Americans, particularly Black Americans and Americans of color, do not receive it. We don't receive. When I took a financial, what was it? Personal finance class my sophomore year of high school, and I learned nothing. I learned about Wall Street and like Bernie Madoff and why he went to jail for 300 years. What does that do for me? How is that going to teach me anything? That doesn't teach me anything. There's an inadequate education. Like, how do they expect a person whose degree is in American history to teach me how to balance a checkbook? I don't, it's pretty, there's an inadequate level of education on these matters, and we aren't receiving the right amount. So we have to do our own research, and we have to educate each other on these different matters. And you all are ahead of the game right now because you're in this call for a reason, because you want to know more and you want to bring back what you learn to your people, and you want to get them hip on these different things. And that's important. These are the makings of a leader, of a person who wants to be financially free. And you are taking the steps to do that. So you can pat yourself on the back for real, because this is important. This is really something. Yeah, this is really something that's important. Grown people don't know this. People that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s sometimes don't know this. We were taking these classes with St. Louis Builds Credit and other, I can't remember the other group's name, but we were taking these classes, and there were people who were much older than myself, 30, 40 years older than myself and my colleagues here, who didn't know these things, who were asking questions that I felt were obvious. And it didn't make me think that these people were stupid. It showed me that we have a very inadequate level of education on these matters. So I urge you all to educate yourselves on matters like these and spread that knowledge. Spread that knowledge to your friends and your family, so we can make efforts towards ending economic discrimination, towards closing wealth gaps. This is very important.
and you all are taking the steps towards doing it. So that's amazing.
All right. So getting down to closer to the end of it, having good credit is extremely important for navigating life financially in America. Money is starting to become the lowest thing right now. Credit is everything. So go out again, like you said, and go get that research so you can get the better level of success for yourself. At the end of the day, we're out here trying to build generational wealth. And this is one of the main ways to do that. A person with good credit will save thousands more on average due to low interest rates than a person with a low score. Again, make sure you have a good score. Again, it's better to build that good score than have to fix that score.
Absolutely.
So start now, take the knowledge that you're at now and run with it. On top of go out and build on top of that knowledge that you're getting now. So you can, again, build rather than fix. Your credit can be rebuilt over the course of 1 to 2 years if you're responsible with your finances. Nothing lasts forever. But of course, with time, everything becomes better. Time is everything. Time is money, and money is time. Paying your bills on time and having a low utilization rate can help build credit fast. Credit cards are safer than debit cards. Again, that saying is perfect. You can get your money back with your credit cards because it's their money. They're gonna want to see why is this not adding up? Why is something not adding up? Why is 2 plus 2 not adding together?
Right.
So it's going to be a lot easier to get that money if there was potential fraud or if there was anything else going on, simply because you can put those numbers together. It is easier to build credit than repair it. Again, that's just repeating what I'm saying. Closing a credit card is bad. The last thing you want to do, if you don't feel like you're gonna need that credit card later down the line, try not to get it. If you feel like this is like a 1 to 2 thing, 2-year credit card deal, it's not worth it. Get credit cards that are worth a while, that is long-term. Everything short-term builds for a long-term goal. So get something that's long-term, that's gonna benefit you in the future. No credit equals bad credit. Again, if you don't have a credit card or haven't set anything up yet, go out and get you one. Right now, you're at 0, which means you have no history, which means you are at a potential rate of being denied for a loan or anything else. So go out and get that history, build that trust with other people so people can see that, okay, he's worthy, he's liable of getting these loans and this interest. Check your credit score and your credit report regularly. Again, the last thing you want to do is check your score and somebody, Billy Joe, then swipe your card for $1,000. I would be heated. So check your scores and your reports to make sure that you're not getting scammed. The last thing you want to do, again, is look up and that money is gone and you supposedly haven't used it in forever.
Yes, real life, real talk, real rap. Definitely everything that he just said and more. You definitely want to make sure that you are checking your credit. You want to make sure that you are building your credit effectively. You want to make sure that you're not, you're paying your balance off in full. I can't stress that enough. Pay that balance off in full at the end of every month. Do not do that minimum payment BS. It is not good for you. It's not going to save you no money. At the end of the day, you end up spending more money with that interest than you would have if you would just paid the balance.
I was like, if you need to, of course, money is thin, and that's very much understandable. So if you need to pay that minimum off, do what you have to do, but understand that now you have to spend low.
Yeah.
If you have to pay that minimal, now you have to watch what you're spending until you can get yourself back up to where you can do what you need to do. Because the last thing you want to do is stretch your money thin as well as yourself. So if you're living off that paycheck to paycheck, watch yourself. Don't go out again and use your credit for an apartment or a pair of shoes that you are not going to be able to pay back later. Again, that utilization rate is key. You want to make sure that it's at its lowest so you can build that rate a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about a guy. He's a YouTuber. I forgot his name. I think it's Graham something, but he's a he's an entrepreneur. He does a lot in the field of business, and he gets people hip on a lot of business related topics. You can see. Okay. But he gets people hip on a lot of business related topics. He started trying to get into owning property and renting when he was about in his early 20s. And he was one of those people that was like, I'm not going to get a credit card. I don't need credit. Credit cards are a scam, this, that, and the other. And he could not get no kind of loans for his, to own these homes and rent these places out. He could not get, nobody was trying to give him any kind of money. They were like, oh, he thought he could pay it off all in cash. They wanted to know your credit history. That you have good credit. If you have good credit, they're way more likely to work with you. And that was something that really stood out to me, because somebody that clearly he had the funds, you know what I'm saying? He could pay it off in cash, but he didn't have the credit history. He didn't have the credit. And that to them, that meant absolutely nothing. They don't care how much money you have. You could lose all of that money. You know what I'm saying? They want to know, they want to know, this guy has the credit history to back it up. They want receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody is like, oh, I got the receipts, they want the receipts. Your credit report, your credit score, those are the receipts.
Keep up with your receipts.
But yeah, man. And so keeping up with that, it's incredibly important. Incredibly important. Pay those bills on time. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to not pay bills. I don't understand where this mentality comes from, where people just think they can like rack up some debt and then not pay it off. No, you will you're not gonna have a very good time financially for the next few years of your life. People are paying attention to your credit report. Fun fact, some of us are at that age where we're starting to move out and move in our apartments. Your landlords, the people that you're renting to, they're gonna check your credit report. They're gonna check your credit report to see how you spent your money, and if you're paying off the things that you have. Yeah, it's based off of your credit report and credit score. Like they're gonna check all of that to make sure that you are gonna pay them. And if you're not, they are not about to give you that apartment. You're about to be staying with mama for a little while longer. You need to make sure that all of that is on point. Can't stress it enough. You want to go on the next slide?
Can I add a few things?
Yeah.
So I would also say, well, basically what Nkosi was saying about you're not going to be able to get an apartment or anything like that if you don't have a credit history. Same with a car. If you're wanting a car, whoever is most likely the dealership, if you're getting from going to the dealership to get your car, they're not going to trust you to be able to pay them off or pay the loan off that you're getting for the car. So you're going to be less likely to be able to get a car too, which is something that I'm sure some of you guys are maybe experiencing or have experienced. Also, in addition to checking your credit score and your credit report regularly, also check your credit card statements. So when you get your credit card, they'll send you a monthly statement with all of the purchases you've made and a total balance of what you owe that month. Check that. Make sure there's no scams, or make sure there's no unauthorized purchases that were not made from you. I check mine every single month whenever my credit whenever that is posted, because I want to make sure that all of the things that I purchased are on there and nothing else. Definitely do that. Also, I was going to say that, we're encouraging you all to get a credit card, but you have to be 18 in order to apply for a credit card. So for those of you that are not 18, that's when that term or you being an authorized user comes into play, or having a cosigner. That's when those things come into play. So I just want to throw that out there to make sure that you are aware that you have, in order to apply for your own credit card, you have to be 18. Yeah, so just wanted to pass that on.
As an authorized user, you all, some of us, I don't know how many parents there are out there, but you can start really, really early with your kids. I believe that you can start as early as, I want to say 15. No, you can start earlier than that. You can start pretty early.
Like when you have a baby, you can have the.
When you have a child. So, some of us are, we could be new parents or have had our children for a while, and you can set your kids up for a very solid financial future. And it'll also put more emphasis on your you paying attention to your finances. So if you know for a fact that what you do right now is going to affect how your child comes into this world financially, it'll probably make you more responsible if you are that type of person. Another thing I want to emphasize, definitely, that credit report. Some of us, I'm gonna get real deep right now. Some of us have parents that are irresponsible, as I said before. And some of us have some of us have had our parents or a relative put something in our name when we were a child that affects our credit. I can definitely tell you that I know people that this has happened to, and that we probably all know somebody that this has happened to, or know of somebody that has done this. You can dispute that. If you know for a fact that, look, credit card, these bureaus aren't stupid. They can check they can see that when you weren't 18 in 2012. They know that. So if somebody puts something in your name in the year 2014, you probably weren't responsible for that. They can check that. They can knock that off for you. It'll take about a month, but then once that happens, you should be in the green. Is there something in the chat? No, you're good. Okay. All right. So next slide, I want to hop on. We got some questions. I got them still good. So we're opening it up to some questions now. I really encourage you all to ask away, ask some questions, get into it. Make sure that I want you all to walk out of here with at least a thorough enough understanding of credit, how it affects our lives, and what it does for us. So if you still have any questions, if there's anything you want to say, please, don't be shy. We're all people here learning. I'm learning. Jeremiah's learning. Everybody, we're continuously learning, because it's something that you continuously do have to learn and pay attention to. And yeah, things comes out. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think the Discovery Student credit card is a good credit card for college students?
I would say that question is really dependent on you and how you view it, and your income and all those different things. I would recommend that you definitely read into it more before getting it. I didn't do the Discover Student thing. My mom referred a friend with the Capital One, and that's how I got my credit card. Because I didn't really trust it myself, because I was I was trying to make sure that I knew all the information, and it was like, especially when they're like hounding you with mail every week. It's like, I think you people want my soul, and I don't like that. So it's like, I was definitely weary of them. So I just did, my mom referred a friend. She got like $100 for referring me, which is pretty cool. So if they can refer a friend with, at least with Capital One, that's what they do. But yeah, it would just depend on you. Do your research. I didn't do it myself, but if that's something that if it works for you and it's something that if it's in your budget, then go crazy, go for it. Well, not go crazy. I need to stop. I need to watch what I say.
You gotta chill.
I should be careful.
Chill. Don't go crazy.
Don't go crazy. Yeah,
Spending the budget.
absolutely. Anyone else?
Dunia has a question.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
Yeah.
So it's like more of a, hold on. Okay. So it's like more of a comment to say like about discovery. I personally, which it does vary from person to person, you would have to do your research. I personally believe from my experience that Discovery is a trustworthy card, especially on the accountability of their credibility, which they work with a lot of different organizations and things like that, which makes them a lot more known. And so with people having questions or comments about them, it'll be a lot more from experience than with taking a guess. And Discover a lot of times do work with new people. That's something that they really kind of strive to get, is the newer people, and working with families, like they would love to keep it in the family. So I feel like Discover is something, and they do have many good resources and outreach and programs. Like we said even earlier, you can actually check your credit score on there as well. And so I do feel like they are good and credible, but that's my personal knowledge. So there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Discover definitely has that reputation that it's built. I can't deny that. It was just something that wasn't necessarily, I wanted to make sure that I know that if you have a relative that has been with their particular credit card company for a very long time, like my mom was with Capital One for 20 years, never missed a payment, anything like that. I was approved almost immediately because of that reputation. As I said previously, credit history plays a big role. And because of her reputation, her history with that company, I was approved quickly, and I had a nice size credit limit. So it just, I'd recommend picking the card that works best for you, doing that research. If it serves you the best, definitely go for it. And if it doesn't, they need your business. You don't need theirs. Anybody else? Anything in the chat?
No, they can get over here.
I will chime in and kind of give a personal example as well. So for me, I got my credit card when I turned 18. My mom had a lot of knowledge on credit and having a credit card and the importance of having a credit card. So that really set me up for success in that area because I had the knowledge from her. I could go to her with any questions. I will say if I didn't have that role model, that knowledge from my mom, that I would not have known any of this information, because it really does help having that role model and somebody that can kind of mentor you through it. But I got my first credit card when I was 18, and my mom started a savings account for me when I was a baby, and at a credit union. And so I was with that credit union for those 18 years, which that's the first step, is having that relationship in order to get your credit card. And so I already had 18 years of experience at that credit union. So they were more likely to give me a credit card because they know my history. I mean, they know my, all of my information, and they know me as a person. So that's why emphasize enough the importance of having of being with a credit union specifically. They're very much relationship oriented, and that's part of the credit process. You have to have that relationship and that history in order to get good, to get a good credit card and to get a good loan, if that's something that you're looking into. I guess this is kind of related to getting a good loan with a good interest rate, a lower interest rate. Because I've been with the credit union for so many years, they know me as a person. They were more likely to give me a lower, a loan with a lower interest rate because they know that I will pay off, that they know that I have paid off my credit card payments every month in full. So that helped me get a loan with a lower interest rate. So I just want you guys to know that it is very important to have relationships and to network and to continue to make those connections, because it will help you in the long run for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Somebody had a question in chat. It said, can you get a credit card with your bank? Because I'm with Neighbor Bank Credit Union.
Yeah. Right.
I was like, yeah. I was like, far as I know, you can definitely, if they approve you, then yes. Of course, I would sit down with them, pick a day out of your time and sit down with them, go through. I would at your own house, at your own leisure, I would do the research on what they benefit, like what's the benefits, what's the interest rates if you was to go into that. And then I would go in there and then sit down and talk with them on how to set that up. But far as I know, if they approve you, for sure. Mostly all banks will approve you for one, especially if you're starting out with one, because you have an account with them.
Yeah, definitely.
An example I just gave, that was where I got my credit card, was from the credit union. And banks, yes, if you're with a bank, they have credit cards as well. So just stay with that wherever you are, whatever bank or credit union you are with, stay with them as long as possible, because it's going to give you more of a chance that you're going to get that credit card. So.
Any other questions? Anything to add, anyone?
That's it.
I don't think we have anything else to add.
All right, so our next PD. Hopefully you guys have stuck with us through the journey, but our next PD is August 4th, from 5 to 7, same time. If any of these topics, investing, entrepreneurship, resiliency, Black excellence, if any of those stick out to you or reach your interest, I would definitely sign up, join, come out. You get to see my face again.
Yeah.
You get to see Cozy's face again.
And I'm beautiful. So
anyway, you get to see Alexis and Dania. We're all coming back together this time, and we're hitting on those topics. We all have our own topic to speak on, and we're definitely hitting on those. So I will contact Amanda. Of course, we're gonna post this out again through our social media and through other sites, but I would definitely get on that. These are something definitely we are putting time and effort into. So
yeah,
since the program like longer, why y'all just want like find other like topics to talk about, since the program gonna be like longer this year than what it was like any like last year? Why y'all want like come up with extra like more topics to talk about?
More topics such as what?
I don't know, something.
She's just curious if why our last PD is on August 4th and why we are not going into the fall. Basically because the program that was developed was just for the summer. The Young Money Managers program, was just developed for the summer. So that's kind of why we are only going into August.
Cool. But yeah, come check us out. I'm gonna be covering investing. Little, background about me. I like to invest. I know a lot about it. If you guys saw me yesterday, I was in the PD yesterday over investing. Tried to get you guys hip on Acorns, but she was not having it at all. She does not. She doesn't trust Acorns, but I trust Acorns. Acorns is reputable. It's federally backed. If they do get shut down, they'll give you money. But
You said that because of the thing, the Zoom yesterday.
yeah, she was not having it, man. She was not
She
having
was
it.
trying her. She was not having it. She was like, he put like every sentence. She was like, no,
She was
no.
That is not my recommendation. I was like, I'm so sorry. No, but but yeah, come check us out. We're gonna be, giving some info, talking about some major stuff, and we really, really hope to see you there. It's really important.
I was like, I've definitely enjoyed this through the PDs that I've taught on. So this is just another one. I'm speaking on Black excellence. I definitely love Black people and everything that they're doing as a whole. And I would definitely love to inform you guys on different things, bringing everything together, resiliency, entrepreneurship, and investing, and letting you know Black leaders that are in those three main topics. So I would definitely come out. Again, you get to see me. Yes, sir.
Love seeing Jeremiah.
So I would definitely come out for sure. If you ain't got no more questions, you get to see my face again because we finna stop sharing.
Yeah.
And we just want to
Real fast, there is a typo. It should be from next week. It will be from 5 to 7:30. It's a little bit longer so that we have more time to cover all 4 topics. So just wanted to put that out there.
All right.
Can you just make it to 8?
Just make it to 8.
Look at the
so more time to see me.
Yeah. And if you
I'm
enjoy
with it. Y'all engage.
What's that?
We're happy to see that.
Sweet.
I said if they engage, we happy to see that.
Oh, y'all go work to 8.
But there's another slide. But yeah,
Just to make the day go by fast.
Thank you. That's all. Yeah.
He recommends y'all use Acorn, whatever that is.
I do recommend you use Acorns, and I'm standing on it. Use Acorns, use Robinhood,
Period.
TD Ameritrade, Webull. Those are investing apps. They're great. They're federally backed. And if they do get shut down, you get your money back because the government is holding
Say what
on.
you gotta say. Don't let her stop you.
Exactly. She's trying to stop me from being great.
Right.
But yeah.
She don't even know. I don't think she knows something.
I mean, she has a lot of experience, and she said she started investing 30 years ago, and things have changed in the last 30 years. So she probably just, isn't aware of those different.
She probably don't think Acorn changed in the last 30.
But yeah, I would argue it's more effective than a financial advisor because the money that you spend in your debit, they take a fraction of it and put it into an investment account. So not only are you investing,
too much information.
I'm dropping so many jewels right now.
You gotta check in to the next PD to hear some more.
Tap in August 4th. You're gonna see me in my
Natural habitat.
Wolf of Wall Street. Completely just gonna tear the streets up.
Charity ain't joining y'all.
Huh?
Charity ain't joining y'all.
Yeah, she's in that. She's the one teaching resiliency.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremiah, do you have anything that you want to plug?
Oh yeah. Subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Hashtag JFit314.
Absolutely. But yeah, we got some people saying that they gotta leave. Bye guys. We pretty much we got through it pretty quickly. But once again, can't stress it enough. Do your research. Go back in there, check everything out. Yeah, great. Have a great time.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys did so great. There's lots of helpful information that you guys shared.
Yeah.
So awesome.
I
And
just-
also everyone that's listening, definitely be sure to check out those resources that will be included in the email tomorrow. So
Absolutely.
awesome.
All right, I
We'll
just
see you
subscribed
guys
to Dude's
later.
channel, so tell Dude I just subscribed to his channel, so he need to do something.
You just got a new subscriber.
Right on, right on. All love.
All righty. Have a
still
good
got more
rest
than
of your
you, but-
night, everybody.
It is a